prow of a ship 1,000 years old. A ship built of wood, carrying shields faced with metal, weapons of iron, and ornaments wrought in gold. A ship of the Vikings. In craft like this, the early Norwegians sailed from their fjords out into every part of the known Western world, making long ocean voyages as far as Iceland, North Africa, and even the Black Sea. Crossing the Atlantic, they reached North America 500 years before Columbus. A few years ago, on this Kon-Tiki raft, Norwegians sailed 5,000 miles of the Pacific. The wooden ship Fram was used by the famous Arctic explorers Nansen and Amundsen. Such is the tradition of this seafaring nation. Today, though Norway has only 3.25 million people, yet her merchant fleet is the third largest in the world, and Norway's men and ships reach out to the far side of the globe. In whaling, it was the Norwegians who pioneered the harpoon gun. By development of factory ships, each with its fleet of catchers, Norway has established amid the ice of the Antarctic the world's biggest whaling industry. To fly from the south to the far north of Norway is a trip as far as one to Rome or Spain. Norway's northern counties lie well within the Arctic and share frontiers with Soviet Russia. This signpost points along a road that is never used, for here it crosses the Iron Curtain. Yet only a few yards from the frontier, Norwegians are busy working and building new farms, a sign of their confidence in the future. Near the Russian frontier, too, are the vast Kirkenes iron mines, showing each year more development and increased output. The people along this northern frontier enjoy standards of comfort equal to those of most Norwegians, even though they live further north than any people in the world, except for a few settlements of Eskimos. These children are playing only a few yards from their country's border. If a ball is hit too hard, it may fall in Soviet Russia. In spite of the short summer of these latitudes, the Norwegian government greatly encourages these communities in the far north. A local bus for a trip to town, for shopping, a haircut, or a visit to the dentist. Routine anywhere in the world. And routine even here, hundreds of miles north of the Arctic Circle. But the main form of transportation in northern Norway is still the daily boat service, bringing mail, goods and passengers, and carrying away local products to the more southern ports. For the locals, the arrival of the boat is always an event, and many come to inspect who and what it has brought. If a stranger comes or a new radio is delivered, in no time at all, everybody will know. When the boat leaves, the excitement is over until tomorrow. Along the great broken coastline of Norway, the sea invades the mountains in hundreds of fjords and inlets. And people here often spend as much time on water as they do on land. Towns are served by large coastal vessels, plying between places as far apart as Bergen and Kirkenes, keeping touch with communities all along the line. Outgoing cargoes are usually fish. For it is mainly by fishing that people have been able to make a living in the desolate north. The cod fisheries form a huge industry in which thousands of boats gather for the few months of the fishing season. Further south, the catch is herring. Again, the work is seasonal, but during that time, the single haul of a net may yield as much as 5 tons of fish. The enormous quantities caught are, of course, far too much for local needs, and most of the catch is exported. Much, too, is stored for making into oil or herring meal for agriculture. Often the fishing plants are owned by cooperatives, bringing greater security to Norwegian fishermen. When the season is over, many return to the land, for they are farmers as well as fishermen. Their farms are often tiny patches high up on the mountainside. So little of the land in Norway can be cultivated that every fertile piece must be worked. Sometimes, if the soil is good, even the steepest of slopes are made to produce. Here, indeed, necessity is mother to invention. In the richer river valleys, farming is easier, but even here, because of the short summer, grass has to be cut green and dried before being stored. Some of the grain land has been farmed since before Viking days, and many of its farmhouses are hundreds of years old. Such houses are proof against the most bitter weather, solidly built of logs compressed together by the weight of snow of countless winters. Some country churches are as old as Westminster Abbey or Notre Dame, yet they too are of wood. Often their ancient carvings depict the conversion of the Vikings from pagan faiths to Christianity. Much in Norway is built of wood because after the sea, the forests are the country's greatest assets. Here, winter and summer, the sounds of saw and axe are commonplace. For naturally, with so much timber, Norway is one of Europe's greatest exporters of wood and wood products. The other great wealth of Norway lies in water. Hundreds of mountain streams, dozens of swift-flowing rivers plunging down from the heights and great waterfalls. Here is a source of power which is the envy of less fortunate nations. Though Norwegians have as yet exploited only 1/6 of their potential water power, yet they use more electricity than any other people on Earth. This abundance of cheap power has made possible the development of many specialized industries. The production of aluminium, zinc, nickel and carbide, and such industries have brought new jobs to the people of the fjords. People who for generations have been farmers or fishermen are today often factory workers. And with farming and fishing becoming more mechanized and needing fewer workers, such changes make for a sound balance of labor. Norwegians love their countryside. And even in their cities, the country seems to invade the very streets. In their building, they express much of their history and their national culture. The interior of the town hall of the capital, Oslo, is typical of the design found in schools, factories, and ships. Paintings, wood carvings, murals, and sculpture. This emphasis on public art is reflected in the intense interest shown by amateurs. For many Norwegians find relaxation in art at home. This lofty column is the centerpiece of an immense park of sculpture executed by the artist Gustav Vigeland. So many and varied are his figures and groups of statuary that the work took him over 30 years to complete. Against its stark background of mountain and forest, Norway is essentially a country of freshness and youth. Maybe because their winters are so long, Norwegians have come to value sunshine very highly, and no nation has a greater appreciation of the pleasures to be found in outdoor life. When the weather is fine, the people certainly make the most of it. Out of doors, a Norwegian has two loves, sunshine and snow. And in winter, too, he gets the last ounce from nature. On the first Sunday in March is staged the Holmenkollen ski jumping contest. From all over the world, visitors come to watch international competitors on this spectacular jump, used only on this one day each year. Not everybody's sport, perhaps, but one to which most Norwegian boys aspire. Yes, the snow is very much a part of life in Norway. And in skiing, here, no one is too young to learn. Near Oslo is the headquarters of NATO's Northern Command, planning and directing the defense of this northern sector, which forms as much as a third of NATO's long protective line stretching from the Arctic to Turkey. In this climate, soldiering is a very specialized business. So here, officers from many nations come to study the problems that must be solved for effective defense under such conditions. Amongst these problems, the toughest of all is that of transport. And though many new tricks are applied, much depends upon the time-proved methods of the Arctic. Horses, dogs, and even reindeer. A Lapp Home Guard unit, using its traditional means of getting about, moves into action with remarkable speed. For such seasoned hunters, there is little need for special clothing or equipment. For them, these are everyday conditions. More conventional Home Guard forces are equally at ease behind a rifle or an automatic weapon. These Home Guard defense troops give much support to Norway's regular land, sea, and air forces. And thousands of Norwegians give a great deal of unpaid time to weekend and evening military training. In a land so vast and with such a small population, isolation and a hard climate tend to make family ties strong. To a Norwegian, life centers around his home circle, the pleasure of his children and his pleasure in being with them. And love of one's country in Norway takes the form that each feels that they are part of a larger family, that of the nation. On Norway's National Day of May the 17th, this family of 3.25 million people demonstrate their unity by saluting their king. King Haakon VII is respected and loved, and on this day Norwegians express their feelings in family style, not with a military parade, but with a march past of children. Being part of a family means the acceptance of responsibilities, one towards the other, and responsibilities toward the larger family of the nation. And today, Norway realizes her responsibilities too towards the Atlantic community, that family of 15 nations united for peace and liberty.